I think the fantasy characters chose me. I auditioned for the part of Gollum. I think I was talking to my wife. It was 7 years ago, and at first I thought I was just auditioning for the voice of Gollum, and the whole process of motion capture and inhabiting the role fully so that it could be used as a blueprint for visual effects was not really on the agenda. It was going to be a completely animated character originally. And then by process of working through it with Peter Jackson, when he could see that I was not just a voice actor, that I had to inhabit the role fully to enable the character to work. And so to make the voice work, I was acting physically, psychologically, just embodying the character. So he realized that that was the way he wanted to go, to have the other actors, to me to work on set with them, and then then the whole motion capture side of it began to develop as a result. And then in the film, and of course in the story as well, Smeagol, before he becomes Gollum, they had that scene, and when it was decided that I would play Smeagol, then they redesigned the whole character so that it would fit my facial muscle structure and look more like me. So yeah, it was a very organic process, and I certainly didn't realize when I first took the job that it would take three and a half years of my life, you know. Well, in actual fact, there's no difference for me in when I prepare for a role in any film or on stage. It's a matter of embodying the character psychologically, physically, emotionally, finding clues, keys to the character. Except and also, it was more important for a fantasy character to be grounded in reality and truth. So for Gollum, I very much based his need for the ring on a sense of addiction, and so I looked very closely at various forms of addiction and used examples of people that I have known and to plug into that side of him. Yeah, when Peter first asked me to do King Kong, I said very early on, I think it's important that his behaviour is based in real gorilla behaviour. When the original King Kong was made in 1933, people had very little understanding of how gorillas moved and behaved and were psychologically. And of course, in 2005, when we made the film, people know a lot more about gorillas, and a lot of research has been done into them. So I said very early on that it was important to understand gorilla behaviour and movement. And so I spent a lot of time working with gorillas in captivity at London Zoo. And also I then went to Rwanda and studied mountain gorillas there with Diane Fossey, Gorilla Fund International, who helped me and taught me gorilla vocalizations and behavioral patterns and movement and so on. So that was my way into the character. And of course, once I started to uncover what gorillas were like, I realized that it wasn't going to be so much about just mimicking gorilla behavior. It was who was the character of Kong, what was his character, because gorillas are like you or I. They are totally different. They're 97% genetically the same as we are, and therefore they are as different as each human being is, you know. So it was very much more about who is the character. Well, as an actor, one is used to working always with other actors, for a start. And that did happen both in Lord of the Rings and with King Kong. I was always on set working with Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, who were playing Sam and Frodo, and then with Naomi Watts, who was playing Anne in King Kong. But then a long period of time was spent on my own in the motion capture studio, and you have no external stimuli, really. Certainly, of course, there's no costume, there's no makeup, there's nothing to help you externally. It's a very pure form of acting and relies totally on your own imagination and plugging back into shooting the scenes on set and emotionally recalling what you did on set with the other actors. Well, with Gollum, it was very different because, of course, it was 3 films, and I saw the development change bit by bit, and I was working with the animators, so I would see shots being developed down the pipeline and see how they were, you know, transforming from my facial features into Gollum's, for instance. But with Kong, I didn't have that because of, as I say, the time it took to change my performance into the gorilla's face. So with Kong, it was really at the first screening, the ADR actually, the ADR sessions, the recording, because I did the vocal recordings of Kong as well, and that was amazing actually, seeing it finally translate and see where my acting choices were coming across in the face of Kong, you know, and yeah, that was quite extraordinary. Another one is when a female gorilla is, say, reprimanding a young male, they'll turn around very sharply and go like that, and it's like don't do that, that's, you know.